بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه من والاه. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته, and welcome to the first Ramadan Naseeha from productiveramadan.com. Today's episode, Setting Priorities Straight. I want to ask you a question. What is your number one priority this Ramadan? Ask yourself that question. What is the number one thing that you need to do constantly throughout Ramadan and make sure you do very, very well? I hope you can all agree with me that the number one priority this Ramadan is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing else should take priority. Of course, worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should be our priority throughout the year. But in Ramadan, it has a special status. You have to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with sincerity and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with increased effort. So you put your maximum energy into worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now I want to also ask another question. Is this truly your number one priority? Look through your life. Look around you. Look at how you manage your life, manage your time. Does worshipping Allah, is it really your number one priority? If you look at the evidence in your life that it's not a number one priority, is, for example, if you don't pray on time, then that is the biggest evidence that worshipping Allah is not your priority in your life. When you're not reciting Quran as much, when you have a choice between something, fill in the blank, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger, you choose the blank. If you have a choice between going to Taraweeh and going to play cards with your friends, and you go and you choose playing cards or PlayStation 3 with your friends, then really your priorities are not put straight. You have to remember that our number one priority in life is to worship Allah, because that's our purpose in life. In Ramadan, a time when our sins are forgiven and our good deeds are multiplied, really we become losers otherwise. If we do not have worship as our number one priority, then we become true losers. Now, how can we make worship number one priority? Number one, let us understand worship. Worship is two parts. Part is the what we all know, the salah, the fasting, zakah, charity, hajj, and remembering Allah, reciting Quran. That's one aspect. But the second aspect is everything else you do which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves and is pleased with. So for example, if you work in a halal job to earn some income to feed your family, and you put that intention in yourself, then that is worship. If you sleep early so that you can wake up Fajr early, then your sleep becomes worship. If you eat halal food and try your best to keep to halal means and feed your family from halal means, that becomes worship. So worship is everything, in its broad sense, is everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves and is pleased with. So we need to make sure that this worship, whether it's the Quran and Salah and fasting and Zakah, or the broader meaning, takes priority in everything we do. So the first thing we need to do is plan our life around Salah times. Make sure that nothing falls around your Salah time. Whether it's a meeting, whether it's a hospital appointment, whether it's an important event, try your best to plan your life around Salah. And whenever you travel or whenever you have something to do, think, where will I pray, how will I pray, what time is Salah time, and so on and so forth. Secondly, pre-book schedule time for Allah. Now, some of you might feel uncomfortable with the statement. How do you pre-book schedule time? What I mean by this is that make sure you have a certain hour or two or three during the day which is completely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for direct worshipping. So it could be tahajjud time, it could be reciting Quran. This is the time where doesn't matter what falls in this place, unless it's an emergency, then nothing else should take away from this time. But you sit down and you schedule a time, and khalas, that's it. This is the one thing you do, and you don't do anything else. Make sure you take time off if needed. So you need to take time off from work. If you need to take time off if needed. If this is our number one priority, then why not take time off? We take time off to go on holidays. We take time off when we when we have guests maybe visiting us from abroad. We take time off for many reasons. Why not take time off to worship Allah and focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Take time off if needed, especially in the last 10 days of Ramadan. Remember your ultimate destination. Remember that if we drop dead today, what will matter to us most? Is it our worship, or is it anything else that we think is important? So these are some of the practical tips to help you to make worship a number one priority in your life, and especially in Ramadan, inshallah. Now we have two resources on the productiveramadan.com website. We have the Ramadan Taskinator, which helps you schedule in hour by hour what you should do. And as before we said that make sure you schedule time for Allah, make sure you block time for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also make sure that you plan your life around Salah time. So what I advise to do is to go through the Taskinator and fill in first of all the time which is for Salah, for Taraweeh, for reciting Quran. Make sure those are booked and no one else can book them, take them away from you. And then plan your life and other things to do around it. And if you might think, oh, I'm too busy, I have no time, so trust me, you just make the effort. You give that time to Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you and bless your time. Secondly, we have the habit list, is when you want to develop a habit, and this is very important to help you develop the worship habit. So you want to make sure that you pray on time, you recite Quran every day, you make sure that you develop the habit of constantly worship Allah on a daily basis. Consistency is very, very important. As we mentioned, productivemuslim.com on our website, we have three main things that make us productive: the knowledge, the skills, and most importantly, the consistency. Make sure you're always consistent. That's when you become truly productive. I hope you enjoyed the first Ramadan Naseeha this Ramadan. I wish you all a blessed and beautiful and productive Ramadan. Please visit us at productiveramadan.com or our Facebook page or Twitter page, and keep in touch inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.